Hey, welcome back. This tutorial is going to show you how to configure the core English VCCV rec list in a program called Setparam. Now, I know autos scare a lot of people, but I would not be working on these huge English banks if I didn't have a secret up my sleeve. So I'm going to show you what that is, and I promise you this will be a lot easier than you think it is. So first you're going to want to download Setparam, and I'll leave a link in the description to this webpage. You just have to click here, and you're going to want to grab the English version. So just save that to your desktop and open it up. Start Setparam. You're going to want to navigate to where you saved the voices in Oremo, and then load the voice configurations that came with the rec list download. So the first thing you're going to want to do is have it show you the waveform, the spectrum, the volume, and the pitch. Then you're going to want to go to Options, Mouse and Key Settings, and click Utterance Timing Adjustment Mode. And then Options, Mouse and Key Settings, when left blank is modified, other parameters are modified accordingly to keep relative positions. And go back to Mouse and Key Settings, when pre-utterance is modified, same thing, the top option. Then go ahead and just make sure that the autofocus settings is on pre-utterance. And the other thing I like to do is to go to Advanced Settings and have the spectrum color be color 1, because it's a bit easier to see. And then if you want, you can have it show the target tone, just like in Oremo, and you can apply. And then just go to Show times Zoom times 10. And same thing like in Oremo, go to Save Current Configurations to Initialization File. So when you first open up your bank with the base auto list, it's not going to be spot on, but it's going to be really quick to fix. And this is because the way we've set up Setparam is with one click you can choose where the pre-utterance goes and the rest of the file will move with it. So you just have to click one spot there and everything else lines up accordingly. So it's super quick if you know what you're doing, and if you don't know what you're doing, I'm gonna tell you what you need to do in this tutorial. So first I'm just gonna explain a little bit what we're looking at here. So this is the top thing up here is the waveform, which you're probably a little bit familiar with. The spectrogram down here has a little bit more information in it. Basically it shows the different frequencies in your voice and how loud each of them are. So down at the bottom here are the lower frequencies, and up at the top are the higher pitched frequencies. So where it's black, that means it's quiet, there's no sound, and where it's up into green and up into yellow and red, that's where the sound is louder. So here where it's black, there's no sound. Here where there's a little bit of blue down at the bottom, that means there's a really low frequency and it's really quiet. And over here where it's orange, that's where it's louder. This section right here is just the volume in decibels. So it's quiet here and it's louder here. And this line just shows you where the pitch changes are. So over here in this window, we have the voice. This column shows you the name of the WAV file that we just recorded in Oremo. And it's been duplicated as many times as we need it for the different sections of the file. And it's also listed right here. The left blank is this line right here. And it's basically where the file starts. And it's counted in seconds down here at the bottom. So this is 1.3 seconds into the file. And it's listed in milliseconds over here, so 1300 milliseconds. Now, if you wanted to change that, you can just type in a new time. And it will move to what number you put in. So 1.4 seconds or 14 milliseconds. The overlap is this green line right here, and it's counted from the start of the left blank. So this is 45 milliseconds from the left blank. And this is basically where the envelopes will crossfade to in UTAU, which I will talk about more in the UST tutorial. The pre-utterance is this red line here, and it's also counted from the start of the left blank. This line designates where the start of the note is. So you want the start of the vowel to be at the start of the note, for the most part. But we're also going to use it for transitions between vowels and consonants, which I'll talk about more in the UST tutorial. The consonant is this blue line here, and it is also counted from the left blank, and it's also covering this whole area. So the consonant is where you tell the resampler not to loop or stretch a section of your recording. So you want this to cover the consonant and any vowels that are changing. The right blank is the end of the file. It's counted with a negative number. Normally, the right blank would be counted from the end of the file inward. So if we just put 1000, this would make it a second in from the end. And we don't want that. We want it to count from the left blank just like everything else. So if you put a negative in front of that, it will do that. And the alias is what we will use to call up this particular file in UTAU, and it's also listed right here. Okay, so there are a lot of OTO types that we need to go over, and I'm going to try and go through them quickly. And then I'm going to come back and show you what each consonant roughly should look like, so it'll give you an idea of what you need to look for. So I'm going to start with the CVC, which has the biggest OTO out of all of these sections. Now for each recording, there are 5 different OTOs. The first one I'm going to show you is the simple CV OTO. Now this stands for consonant and vowel. Every CV recording in this list will come after a vowel. So we have ba, bab. This is the second sound. This is the a, and this is the next ba. We want to isolate this sound so that it starts right after this vowel ends. Now what you want to do is you want to position the preutterance line right where the vowel of ba starts. For this, it's right here. We can see the vowel, the end of the sound, a space, the b, and then the vowel. You want to place the preutterance right after the consonant, right where the vowel starts. Now, you may have noticed that the overlap in this list is always half of the preutterance. This is very important, and I will explain why in the UST tutorial. But for now, you just need to know that the overlap is always going to be half of the preutterance. No matter what kind of OTO you're working with, it will always be half. So say this recording was smaller and there was less space in between these two vowels. I'm going to include with this list a notepad with a set of numbers that you can copy from. So if you need to make this smaller so that this vowel doesn't get in the recording, you can just copy and paste that right into Setparam and fix your OTO. The thing that you want to watch out for is something that looks like this. If you have any of the previous vowel in the recording, that's going to mess things up a bit. So just make sure that this is cut off at the beginning. The only other thing you want to make sure of on these is that the cutoff, or the right blank, comes in before the vowel changes too much, before it turns into this blank space here. So if this is too big, you just want to go through and make it a little bit smaller. Or if it's too small, you can make it bigger. So the next section is a -CV, which is right here. This is the first ba. And just like with the CV, you want to put the preutterance right where the vowel starts. What you want to make sure to look for in this is the whole consonant is in the beginning here, and that the right blank is in a bit so that the vowel doesn't change. So the next section is vowel space consonant. This OTO will look the most like a VCV OTO. Now you want to put this at the end of the vowel, which is right here on this sample, so that we have half of the vowel crossfading into here, and this is all preserved in UTAU. You want to put the preutterance for this sample right where you put the left blank on the previous sample. So these two are right next to each other, and you'll basically be remaking a VCV recording with them. Just make sure that the consonant covers this whole area, and you don't have to worry about what is in here because UTAU will never hear any of this. And I'm going to show you how to make sure that happens in the UST tutorial. So the next section is the VC section. These ones are a bit different. If you've worked with CVVC before, we've never used. These are supposed to be short aspirated consonants that come before another consonant. So bab, k, b, ab. Now you want to put the preutterance for these right after the b before the aspiration, which is right about here in this sample. You can sort of see the b of that right here and up here. The only other thing you want to make sure of is that you leave a little bit of blank space here without the K in it, and make sure that it covers the whole aspiration so that the resampler isn't looping or stretching anything at the end of these. And the final OTO of this section is the VC dash. These are for the ends of consonants. They're also going to be used to attach consonant combinations to the end of samples as well. So this is like the first vowel space consonant. You just want to put the preutterance at the end of the vowel. And you want to make sure that the consonant covers the whole consonant here. And you want to let it loop blank space. And make sure that the beginning consonant isn't in this recording. So once you get all this down, it's pretty easy to just look at them and go, okay, I want this one here. This one should go here. This goes here. This one goes right here. And this goes here. And you'll be done with the whole OTO before you know it. So the other two sections that you're going to find OTOs like this are in the CV section and the VC section. So in the CV section, we're going to have 3 OTOs for each recording. So the first one is going to be a dash CV. The second one is just a CV. And the third one is a V space C. So just like that. And in the VC section, we have a bunch of VCs, as the name suggests, and then VC dashes. So these are going to look like that. So the section we're going to look at next are all the starting consonant combinations in the CCV section and the underscore CV section. So the CCV section is very similar to the CV OTOs. Now what we're isolating here is the first consonant and the second consonant is going to act as if it's the vowel. So for this one, ble, you can see the B here and the L here. So you want to put the preutterance right after the B and right where the L starts. So bl. And you want to make sure that the consonant covers all of the second consonant. Now anything after the consonant doesn't matter because UTAU is never going to hear this vowel. This is only for the first 2 consonants. So this is a dash CC. So the CCs look pretty much the same. They come after a vowel, and you just want to put it right here, right where the L starts. Now the underscore CVs are going to be what connects to these. So here we have underscore la. On these you want the preutterance to be where the vowel starts. So that's right about here. You can see there's a very tiny L here, and you want to make sure that the beginning K is cut off. So these are all going to end up being pretty small. But there's not very many of them. L, R, W, and Y. And these are all going to connect to the CCs that we saw in the last section. And you'll see how to do that in the UST tutorial. So this next section is for the VCCs. There's only 35 recordings, but there ends up being a bit more lines of OTO. So for every recording, there's 4 OTOs. First one's going to be just a straight up VCC. So just like the VCs, you're going to want to put the preutterance at the beginning of the second consonant. So here we have ink, and the VCC dash is just an ending for these VCCs, so ink. You want to put the preutterance at the end of the first consonant. So at the end of the in this case. Now the CC endings are pretty much the same thing minus the vowel, so you want to put it here, or you want to make that a little bit smaller. Yep, so there you go. And with the CC dash, it's the same thing. You just want to put it right there, or perhaps a little bit smaller. Now in the CC dash section, it's the same thing without the VCCs. So here we have bd. You want to put the preutterance where you would normally put it for a VC ending, but just have it be without the vowel. And BD dash, same thing. So you want to put that about there. So next I covered the CV section. It's pretty similar to the first section we covered. You have the dash CVs for ban here, which is just this, and the normal CVs, like this one. And here's something new I've been testing out, which is a C space C. This one's b. And what you want to do is you want to place it near the end of the m before the b, without having any of the vowel in it. So this is just b. And then a VC space C, which is the same thing plus the vowel included. So you want to put that preutterance in the same place you did, right about there. But the vowel is included now. So next we have the vowel section, just the V. What we have here is a dash vowel, which is just a starter vowel. So you want to put this here at the start of the vowel as if this was a CV, just without any consonant in front of it. This is a stationary vowel, so it's going to be extra long here. You just want to position this so that it's after the beginning here. You don't want any blank space in the beginning, and you want to make sure you don't have any space at the end. And these are pretty simple. It's just a vowel. For the ending vowel, V dash, it's the same as an ending consonant. You just want to put the preutterance at the very end of the vowel. And underscore vowel are just like the underscore CVs without any consonant before them. So these are for linking sounds that we don't have beginnings for. So in particular, this list doesn't have nga. It doesn't have ng as a starting consonant. So you'd have to link, say like ing at, you'd have to link an ing to an a with an underscore a symbol. So you just want to put this right at the start, right after the K. And I'll talk more about how to use that in the USD tutorial. Now, some of the aliases have been skipped on these. Just don't worry about them. They ended up not being used. For instance, we needed an and starting, but we didn't need an and ending because that's already covered in the VCs. And last but not least, we have the vowel to vowel transitions. There's 100 of them. You just want to make sure that you put the preutterance at the start of the second vowel. So here we have ow an. You want to put this at the start of the an, which is really easy to see here, which is right about here. Can't really tell in the waveform, but down here we can see that the next vowel starts right about here. Same with owa, right about here. Okay, so those are all the different OTO setups we're going to have here. So now I'm going to go back and show you what each of the different consonants look like to give you a better idea of what you need to look for. Alright, so back on the main CVC list we have, obviously the B's, pretty simple, look like this. CH. So the D's. DH. F. G. J. K. P. S. SH. T. TH. V. Z. And ZH. And from the CV section we have DD, H, HH, L, M, N, R, SK, SM, SN, SP, ST, W, Y, and there you go. So I know I went over these a little bit fast. I will be making other tutorials later that will go over each of these a little bit more in depth. But for now, I just wanted to give you an overall view of what it looked like and that it wasn't that hard. So if you have any questions or specifics, you want to know specific things, just leave a comment down below and I'll make sure when I make more in-depth tutorials about this, I'll know what questions you have. So thanks for sticking through this, and I'll see you in the next tutorial, which will show you how to use all of these configurations in UTAU.